And Kelly, I see you're with us again today. That if you want to help out in the chat would be great, or feel free if people put questions out there and you guys know the answers, feel free to answer the questions there as well. So the chat is there for all of you to participate in as well. I will tell you, usually during the presentation here, I have a hard time looking through the chat and reading the questions. So feel free, Kelly or someone else wants to take the lead. If you see the same question asked over and over, please feel free to interrupt me.
Yeah, I'll help you, Lisa.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so right here on my screen, I've got the slide deck. If you aren't for sure about how to access it, I'm going to just go to my personal Google account, and all I have to do is copy and paste the URL. So I copied the URL from chat. The URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. It's the web address for, in this case, for the slide deck. And right up here, I put the URL there, and I just hit enter, and then that should bring me to the slide deck that I have shared with you. Now, if you want to access the slide deck after the workshop today, feel free to bookmark this and or add it to your drive. So if you are new to the Google environment, how to add a document or the slide deck to your drive, you can just add it right here from the slide deck. Right up here where it says add shortcut to drive, just click on that. It's like a little triangle. The triangle stands for the drive, and the plus sign lets you add it to your drive. So all you have to do is click on that, and then you can put it right into your drive from here and add shortcut. If you want to put it other places, you can put it other places here. If you don't want to put it in your drive, you can put it, save it to your computer. But if I come up here to my drive, I can then, within my drive, I can put it in a folder within my drive. So if I have a folder already that I want to put it in, I can go and select it. So if I want to put it in my Google Workshop folder, I can do that. If I want to put it in a Google Workshop folder and I haven't created it yet, all I have to do is come down here to this icon. What this icon represents is the new folder and then the plus sign. So all I have to do is click on that, and I can create a new folder from here, name it what I want, name it Google Workshops or whatever I would like, and then hit the check mark here to create the folder. And then once I've done that, I can add that shortcut to the slide deck to my Google Drive. Another thing, if you would like to, you could go up here to the star and bookmark this tab. You can bookmark this on your bookmark bar, or you can put it, if you have different like folders within your bookmarks, you can assign it to there. If you don't have a folder that you want to assign it to, you can choose another folder and create one from here as well. Here's a new folder. So here's some folders that I have created here in my personal Google account. So if you do put it to your bookmark bar and you don't see your bookmark bar here, all you have to do is come over here to the three dots, click on the three dots, and go down to bookmarks and show bookmark bar. If you don't want your bookmark bar to be shown, you can just click off of that and my bookmark bar is gone. So anytime if you are in your Google account and you don't see your bookmark bar and you use it frequently, come over here to the three dots, go to bookmarks, show your bookmark bar. Don't panic if you don't remember all of this today. It is going to be a lot of information. This is being recorded, I believe. Yes, did I hit? Yeah, I did hit the record button. So you can have access to look at this later as well. So let me switch back out of here to my work account here. Again, the bit.ly link is in the chat, and I appreciate people helping out and putting that in the chat. And I appreciate if people feel comfortable if they want to introduce themselves in the chat as well. So here on this first slide, I've got what a lot of teachers are doing right now when they have time is creating virtual classrooms for their students. And this is an example of this. I am doing a workshop on Monday. I'm talking more about Google Slides and how to create your virtual classroom. But on this slide here, real quick, I did put links in here to learn more about the Learning Technology Center. And here's the link to the YouTube channel where all of the recordings will be found. And then also a couple links for the workshops and for the LTC community. Now, another thing, if you want to do a split screen, or if you have two monitors there with you, you could go ahead and sign in for today's workshop. If you can't sign in right now, you can sign in at the end of the workshop, and that's fine. Here on slide 2, we have the sign-in sheet, and the sign-in sheet is just a Google form. It takes you to this Google form right here. Fill it out. This will be what we will use to verify that you were here and for you to get your professional development hours. So it's just a Google form to fill out right there. And again, if you can't access it right now, feel free to access it at the end of today's workshop. Also, I wanted to point out on your screen, it should look like you can access, you can put comments here on the slide deck. You shouldn't be able to edit it if I did the permissions correctly, but if for some reason you want to add a comment or something, you could add comments here to the slide deck for everyone to see. And right now, I am getting lines showing up on my slide deck. I don't know if that's happened a couple of other times. I don't know why that is happening, but that is. So we'll just, hopefully we can ignore those, or maybe if I can refresh my page here in a minute to see if those go away. Also here on slide 2, I have an evaluation if you can fill out at the end. It's about 3 or 4 questions. And then also step 3 here, you will get another ISB evaluation based off of the sign-in sheet that I will provide the ROE, and they will send out the evaluation form. Usually, since this is Friday, it may not come until Monday or Tuesday. And then once you fill that evaluation out, that's when you will get your PD hours. And then that's what you put into your Ellis account. I will put a printable PDF file here. I'll put a link here at the end as well that you can print this if you would like. And then also I will put the recording here on the YouTube channel. So today's agenda, we are going to, again, put your introductions in the chat if you would like to. And then I am going to go over a quick overview of Google, and then we'll jump right into the introduction to Google Classroom. Again, I want you to know that it's okay, whether we were in-person training or since we're online, it's okay that you look at the slide deck. You might go ahead in your learning, because, you know, we have over 100 people in this session today, so everyone learns differently. And what I might be covering here, you might already know. So again, even if we were in person, I would give you the permission to say it's okay to go ahead and look at the slide deck to go further into it. You don't have to stay right where I am on the slide deck or in the Google Classroom. So I know sometimes as teachers, we think we need to be exactly where the presenter is, and you don't have to be. So I wanted to let you know that. You know, it's so easy since we're here doing online training. You know, if I'm overwhelming you at any time, you can easily even mute me as well. So a little bit about me. My name is Lisa Schwartz. I did teach in the Quincy Public School District for 19 years. I taught various subjects within 6th through 9th grade. Majority of my time I did teach computers and computer science. And the platform, Quincy was a Microsoft school. The last couple of years I did incorporate Google into the classroom. So we were using both Microsoft and Google and comparing the two. And I will tell you, There was plenty of times I failed with sharing documents and different assignments with the kids within Google Classroom. But failing forward, that's how we grow. So hopefully you guys are learning that you don't need to know everything within Google or with the tech tools, and you realize that the more you use it, the more you learn about the different applications, the different apps that are out there. Currently, I am working with the Learning Technology Center here in Illinois. I'm a regional ed tech coordinator, and on this map here on slide 4, the green area is what I cover. I work with 10 ROEs in the school districts within those ROEs. If you need to get a hold of me for any reason, here's my email address, and then my Twitter handle, and then also the LTC Illinois website as well. If you haven't heard of the LTC before, feel free. On slide 5 and 6, I've got some more information there about the LTC. And then again, some more links here on slide 6. All right, Kelly, how are we doing in the chat?
We're doing good. People are just kind of letting people know where they're from.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. Sometimes you might see me looking at 2 different screens. I've got, or that I might not be looking at the camera. I do have 2 different monitors here. I will tell you that has been a godsend for working, whether it's remotely or in the classroom. I started having 2 monitors when I was in the classroom, when I started to use Google Classroom a lot more, because back in the day, Google Classroom didn't sync with Skyward for grades. So I had to take my grades from Google Classroom from one screen and input them into Skyward. Now, if you do use Google Classroom and you do use the grade part of it, a lot of the different student information systems out there do sync with Google Classroom. You'll just have to check into it to see if your district does that. So how this workshop's going to go, you've got this slide deck. I am not going to have the slide up the whole entire workshop today. I believe we have this going until 11 o'clock today. So right now I'm not in presentation mode, and I usually won't be. I will have other tabs open up here that I'll switch back and forth from. And I was going to see, I think someone's not muted, and I'm hearing some background noise. Okay. And anyway, so feel free, the slide deck you can use as a resource. And again, for some of you, you might want to look at different slides as I'm going through today. But I just wanted to let you know, as far as the slide deck, it's there. I'll try to refer back to it at times, but I'll probably be jumping into Google Classroom to show you the steps along the way. Logging into Chrome. Anytime you are using any of the Google apps, it is best to use the Google Chrome web browser. Not all of the tools in the Google apps will work in other web browsers. And what do I mean by that? You may use Safari, Internet Explorer, 2 other web browsers that are popular. And if I try to open up Google Docs or Google Classroom in one of those web browsers, not all of, again, the functions or tools will be available. So for example, in Google Docs, I had a teacher working with a student in Google Docs who had always been using the voice typing. The voice typing for some reason wasn't working. The #1 thing to check always is to see which web browser you opened up the Google app.
Your audio is really glitchy. A lot of people have commented, so I took myself off mute. Like, we can't understand a word you're saying right now. I don't know what's going on.
All right, I must not have a very good internet connection today. We've got a storm rolling in. How does my sound? Can you hear me now? Kelly, are you there, or could someone unmute?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. If that, oh, it keeps coming up saying my internet connection's unstable. Let me switch over maybe to my hotspot. I apologize. Because as soon, I don't know who spoke up to let me know about my sound, but as soon as you were talking about that, I lost all connection, and I lost connection out of the, it shot me out of the Zoom room as well.
It's better right now.
Okay, I think I got connected to my hotspot, so we will try that. Okay, so going back then here to logging into Chrome, make sure anytime you're in a Google, you're using the Google apps, that you are using also the Google Chrome web browser to open them up in. Because what will happen in Google Docs, the voice typing function won't work in other web browsers. So what we found out with this teacher and student, they had opened up Google Docs within Safari. So they didn't have the tool of voice typing to be able to use in Google Docs. Was it still there? It was, but it just needed to be opened in Google Docs or in the Google Chrome web browser. Here on slide 8 and 9 talks about Google's mission, and hopefully then, you know, when you are using these tech tools, you can, it increases the opportunities with the 4 C's here as well. If you are brand new to the G Suite apps for education, here on slides 10 and 11, this talks about the different Google apps out there and what they are. And then here on slide 12, what we are going to cover today here in Google Classroom is how to create a class, add students, and as you can see, here's a few other things that we will cover here on slide 12. So here on slide 13 then, so why do I want to use Google Classroom? Why do I want to learn about it to help me, whether it's with remote learning or to help me back in the classroom when we get back with our students face to face? The biggest thing,
we don't see your screen. We can't see your screen. You're not sharing anymore.
Okay.
And Laura, you're sharing your screen. Laura Stockdale, you're sharing your screen. So just be aware of that. Laura, you need to stop sharing yours.
Thank you so much. So as you can see with technology, we've got, there can always be issues. All right, so can you see my screen now? Yeah, okay, perfect, thank you. All right, here we go. So see, it happens to all of us, and that's what's so nice about this. If you do have the mindset that you don't know everything, that things can happen, and hopefully, just like some of you guys have stepped up to help out today, I sure appreciate that. So here on slide 13, then we've got, so, you know, why to use Google Classroom? It's basically a way to organize all of your information. I know as a teacher, when I started to use Google Classroom a few years ago with my students, it really helped me with the students who were absent. It also helped me with my organization. So, you know, if I had a student come in the next day and say, oh, did I miss anything? Yesterday I was gone. You know, we could always just refer back, hey, everything's in Google Classroom. And what I saw over time is students stopped asking me that, because if they did have technology, if they had an internet connection, a stable internet connection, right? then they could access it even when they were gone from the classroom on whatever days they were gone, they could access it. So again, you can store and share online resources for classes. You can post links if you want them to watch a YouTube video, or if you take screencast or do any recordings and you want them to be able to have them available to them when they need to learn about it, or when they're doing the work, they can go back to look at it. It's in a place they know where to access it. So the biggest thing is just the organization, and to help you with the students who are absent. It's all right there. Another big thing was it also allowed me not to have to go into school if there was a day that I was sick, or if one of my kids here at home was sick. I could put the lesson online and push it out in Google Classroom. So there are a lot of benefits here, even when we are not doing remote learning, that you could do back in the classroom when you're face-to-face. Another thing you'll find out the more you work with the different apps out there is that they'll integrate within Google Drive. So Google Classroom automatically on the back end creates a file and creates folders for you in Google Drive. And then it also Google Classroom also creates a calendar that you can access, and I'll show you that today. So here, starting with slide 14, I am going to switch back over to Google Classroom, but again, I am going to try to cover what's on these slides. So you know how you best learn, but feel free to look ahead in the slide deck if you already know some of the things that I'm talking about. So the question is, how do I get to Google Classroom? There's multiple ways to get into Google Classroom. I can come up here and click on New Tab. I clicked on the plus sign. And I can come over here to the waffle. Here at the waffle, I can go down to my classroom. Here's all of my apps that I can access. If for some reason you see an app that I have that you don't have, your district, your Google admin has control over what apps they can push out to you that you have access to. So just wanted to let you know that. And then also with these apps over here, you know, let's say you use Jamboard a lot, you can move Jamboard, you can move the icons of the apps around over here. And this is under the waffle. The waffle is like the nine dots there. Another way I can get into Classroom, I can type in Classroom and do classroom.google.com. As you can see, I go to Classroom a lot, so it remembers it. As soon as I typed in CL, it brought up classroom.google.com. So those are a couple different ways, but that's one thing, again, with technology, there's multiple ways to do the same thing. So when I go into my Google Classroom, this shows all of my classes that I have. And then these are like little class cards. So how do you create a class if you have to? All you have to do is come up here and hit the plus sign, create or join a class. So hit the plus sign here. If I want to join a class, all I have to do is hit join a class and put in the class code. I'll show you where the class code is here in a minute. A lot of schools will roster the classes for you. And what that means is on the back end, the Google admin, the person who's in charge of your Google domain, they have control, you know, over a lot of things here. But they can roster, you know, give your classes all a name, and then they can put the students in. So you might be able to skip the step in the fall or when you're back with students. Or even during remote learning, they can even roster them as well. So the plus sign, join a class, is how you or another student can join a class. And to create a class, so if I want to create a class up here, whether it's maybe one of my activity clubs or sports clubs, I could even create a class for them, or even for, you know, one of my classes for that I'm teaching. I just hit create a class, and here's all I have to do. The only thing that's required from here is a name. So put a name, and then as soon as you have the name, then you can hit create, and it creates a class for you. So I'm going to go into this class, the differentiation workshop here. And as soon as I go into this, here my class is created for me. If you see some of these things down here, I had to create those, but on the back end, things are created like this for me. So let me go back here to these cards here. So I've got 8 classes here. Anytime you see 3 dots, they're kind of hidden depending on the what image I have up here and what color, but here it shows up really well. The 3 dots there. I can move this if I want. I can edit this. When I edit it, it's just editing here if I want to change the class name, if I want to put a section, subject, or room. Even though I didn't do that right in the beginning, I can change it at any time. I can copy this class if I would like, and I can archive it. You might ask, why would I want to archive this? You would want to archive a class at the end of the year when you're all done with it. So then no new changes can be made to it, but you can still reuse posts from it from year to year. And once you archive it, just like if you archive any of your emails, you can still have access to that. To get to your archive class, it's up here with these 3 lines, and I've got my archive classes there. Okay. Again, this is a lot to remember, so don't panic. The more you will use this, the more you'll remember some things. So again, our main goal for today is introducing you to Google Classroom and getting you started using it with your students. Another thing here on the class card is I can open up the gradebook right from here if I would like, and this is the gradebook in Google Classroom. I can also then open my folders in Google Drive from here as well. I will tell you, I usually don't hit those 2 buttons to go right into my gradebook or my Google Drive folders. Again, it depends on what you get used to. When I first started to use Google Classroom, this wasn't available, so I still do it the way I learned it a few years ago, but you could still do it this way. So let me go back into the class. So I just clicked on the card to go into the class, and here's my differentiation workshop class. So you've got 4 tabs up here. You've got the stream tab. This is where information is posted here. Again, I didn't post this information here. When I created the assignment on the Classwork tab, I had it put up here on the stream. You have choices of what you want your stream to look like. And then to see the choices of what your stream looks like, if you come up here to the gear. So again, I know I'm going over a lot of things. If you don't remember anything else from today's workshop, remember this. Anytime you see the gear, 3 dots, or these 3 lines within Google Classroom, know that there's other options there. So right now I'm going to talk about the gear. And so here in the gear, this is where I can change the class details again. So again, this is yet another place to change it. Could I change it on the class card? I could. But this is called, the gear is called the class settings. Okay. So we talked about the class code. This is where you could get the class code from. You could also get the class code from right here on the stream. So if you were having the students join the class, all you have to do is click on this display button here, and it displays the class code for the students to join. Now, if that's not large enough, you can do full screen right here, and it puts it full screen for the students if you had this up on your whiteboard or on your big screen. And I just click out of it, click the X to get back. But here's the class code. Now let's, for some reason, that class code, sometimes the class code could look like an I or L or a 1, and the kids are having trouble logging in and joining your class because you can't differentiate what that letter or number is. All you have to do is come back here to the gear, and go to the class code. And right here with this drop down arrow, I can display it. I could copy it if I want to push it out in another way for the students to get it, or I could reset it. When I reset it, it just changes to a different code. So hopefully it changes to a code that is easier for you and the students to copy down to insert to join the class. But you do have control over that. Right here, you do have control over what's in the stream. So in the stream, you can have students post and comment. I always, with my middle school students, I always left that on and tried to have a teaching moment with the students about, you know, different things that they could post and comment there. Did I have some students who were silly and put a bunch of gibberish there at times? They did. Try to, again, have conversations with those students and talk to them about it. So right here, I can have it where all students can post and comment. If I come down here, if for some reason, you know, the majority of the class isn't listening to me and they're still posting things that are inappropriate or a bunch of gibberish, I can disable that where they can only comment on my post that I put there. Or I can put it where only teachers can post or comment. So again, depending on the grade level that you teach, this may look different. And Google does give us, you know, control of how we want our stream to look as far as what students can and can't do about posting and commenting. Another thing here on the stream, I can show attachments and details. So what this means is the classwork on the stream, anytime that I post in a new assignment on the stream or in classwork, it will show up on the stream on the back end. It's not me doing anything else. So when I post a new assignment in classwork, I can have it show attachments and details, show condensed notifications, and hide notifications. So again, I know some of this might not make sense. Let me get out of this and show you here on the stream. So if I scroll down here on my stream, as you can see, this could be overwhelming to some students, like, oh, this is so much, I don't know where to look. So, you know, this is a lot of, you know, different post things that I've posted in classwork, and it could be comments. So as I'm scrolling here, you can see that, you know, I can just post an announcement here if I would like, or I can even post, you know, my assignments are posted here for my classwork. So let me go back up here and show you a few things. I was scrolling down to show you where kids could comment. Let me see if I can find that real quick. So as you can see, some things could get lost and it could be overwhelming. Maybe this, I thought I had some kids commenting on here. And again, okay, right here. So right here, we've got Blake. On April 9th, he commented, I like the assignments that I can collaborate on with other students. So other students, I have it set up where other students can comment back and forth. So right here, here's student Lisa commenting, and then Blake is commenting based off of her comment. So if for some reason, if any of these students are saying things that, you know, are gibberish, because I did have some students who just thought it was fun to fill up the stream and type in hello or again, gibberish on there, that I can delete the comments that they're doing. But again, that's more work for me. Or I can mute the single student who's not paying attention and listening to the directions about what stream is used for. So I can mute Blake, and then at any time I can unmute him. But when I mute it, Blake can still submit work. Other students won't see it. He can't reply to classmates' work and can't comment or post. And then when I'm muting him, I could also delete this comment that he posted. So instead of turning the stream off for all students, you can just mute, you know, the 1 or 2 students that aren't following the guidelines for the classroom for stream. So again, your stream may look different than others. You do have that option of, you know, turning it off for all students if you don't want the stream on for all students. But I wanted to show you here where you can, you know, just delete a comment. You can mute a person. You can copy this link if you need to for some reason. Or, you know, if this is a great discussion that the students are having on this assignment, you can always move this to the top of the stream as well. So all of this, you know, talking about the students here, if I went back here to the gear and I went here to the stream, here's another place, you know, let's say the students aren't, you know, a lot of students aren't following the directions even after you've talked to them about digital citizenship and everything you post, everyone sees. You can turn everyone off and put only teachers can post or comment. You've got 3 different options here for the stream. Okay. Then the next thing I'm going to show you is the attachments and details on the stream. So you saw right here that Lisa Schwartz posted a new assignment called Poetry. Here's another new assignment called World Lakes. And when you see this, this shows how many people's turned it in and how many people's assigned it or has been assigned. It shows all of the documents that you added to that assignment. Now, here on the stream, I didn't put this there. On the back end, Google adds it to the stream for me. So I have it as the condensed notification. So again, if I go here, Classwork on the stream, or right now I have it show attachments and details. Do I need all of that on my stream? That is up to you. How I usually have it is show condensed notifications. And what show condensed notifications, you'll be able to see the difference here. So you saw that assignment where, trying to think what assignment was that. So here on stream, it shows a condensed notification. It just shows the teacher posted a new assignment. It doesn't show all of the attachments that I added to it. So it kind of cleans it up and it doesn't have everything there. You can see right here, a clipboard means that's a new assignment. A question mark, the teacher posted a question for you in Classwork. Again, you'll see in a minute that on the Classwork page, when I post new assignments, it automatically on the back end of Google, it puts this into stream for me. If I don't want this here, again, I go up here to the gear and I go to Classwork on the stream. I can show attachments and details. That's how I had it at the very beginning, where it showed everything. But again, I usually didn't do that because they can see everything in Classwork. I would show condensed notifications so that they could see, oh, the teacher posted something new. Or I could hide the notifications and leave stream just for commenting. So you'll see now what I've got here on my stream is I just have where people can comment. And then also here on the stream, if I don't want to put something in Classwork, I could share something with the students on stream. So here, you know, if I wanted just to share a video with them, I could tell them watch this video and share it. I'm not counting it for a grade or anything. I'm just sharing it out. So I could share things like this. Again, here's watch this video to learn about Screencastify. But again, if you want it organized and you want it in an assignment, I would put it on the Classwork page instead of here on the stream. So here on my stream, I've hit all of my notifications. I did allow for students to talk and have a conversation here. And then I've added some announcements. So how do you add an announcement? All I have to do here, let me just, so I went into the differentiation workshop and it says share something with your class. So all I have to do is click on that. So if I just, again, want to share something with the class, I can share it right from here. I can, the default here, this first box is my differentiation class workshop, because that's what I am in. If I wanted to share this with multiple classes, I could put it with multiple classes here. So up here it says 3 classes. When you share it with multiple classes, it automatically shares it with all students. If for some reason I only want to share it with a few students or a certain student here in the differentiation workshop, I can come over here and just share it with Blake. So it's saying I'm going to share this with Blake. So some teachers use this announcement to share some extra work with the students, or to challenge certain students, that, you know, to give them other resources. You can do that here within announcements and only share it with certain students. If not, you can share it with all students. But no, when you do select multiple classes, watch what happens over here and see if I have any options. So what happens to the all students and the arrow? It's grayed out. I can't select certain students from multiple classes. So, and that's okay, because then you could always go in and, you know, reuse a post as well to copy it to multiple classes as well. And I'll show you that as well. So let's say I'm sharing something with the class and it's just an announcement and maybe something funny, nothing to tie with an assignment. You know, I can say, you know, please watch this video like I did down below, or please read this article. Again, I'm not grading this. Will every kid do this? Probably not, since it's an announcement and it's not tied to an assignment in classwork. I can then, you know, put what I want right here. I go to add. I can add information right from my Google Drive. I can get a link to the file. I can go to file, or I can even go to YouTube and share a video from here. So if I go to my Google Drive, and then if I wanted to share, I don't know if I have an article here. I'll just, let's say I wanted to share this Google slide deck from today, and then go to add. What it does is it lets me add this. If for some reason, oops, I added the wrong thing, I can always come over here and click the X and it takes it away. But if that's what I wanted to add, I can post it right now. It'll go on the student stream, or I can go over here and I can schedule it for a certain time. So again, why might you want to schedule something? In case if you know you're going to be gone tomorrow and you don't want the kids to get this before 8 a.m., you can schedule it for tomorrow at 8 a.m. or, you know, for Monday, whatever day it is. Again, if I come over here, I can save it as a draft. If I don't know for sure when I want to schedule it, but I've got it, I had time, I have this all ready to push out to the students, I can save it as a draft and then post it when I'm ready for it to be posted. I'll go ahead and post it right now. And so then the students will see this on the stream. Let me go to my student account here. And usually within the school district, you can't get a student account. Google, I know this has been a big ask from Google, that to allow teachers to have like a dummy student account so they can kind of see what it looks like. My workaround from that is, if you have other teachers that you can coordinate with, maybe become a student in one of their classes so you can see how they set up classroom and how they organize it. And or if they feel comfortable, they could make you a co-teacher of that class as well. But making you a co-teacher of that class, you have access to add, and you have access to everything they do on Google Classroom. So if you just want to kind of look over Google Classroom and join in as a student for another teacher, that is a great way to learn as well. So here, this is Blake's Google Classroom. So this is the student's Google Classroom. And right here, do you see his looks a little bit different than the teacher's? He only has 3 tabs up here. He doesn't have the grade tab here. He's got the stream, classwork, and people. And so here in the stream, we've got, please read this article, and here's the slide deck to look at, even though it's not an article. It's not going to show up in classwork because the teacher didn't assign it in classwork. So it's just here as an announcement for the student. What I found sometimes with announcements, if I put it out there, sometimes the kids wouldn't take time to look at it. Again,
Hey, Lisa, I've got a couple questions for you.
yeah,
One is, can you record the directions and post them that way for younger students? That seems to be more helpful.
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Can you record the directions and post them that way?
Yeah, you sure may. Just like, so when you add something here, you can just add then your recording and put the link in, or if it's on your YouTube channel, you can put it in via the YouTube channel. But if not, you can just record the link, or copy and paste the link right here. Perfect, great question.
And then this goes back a little bit, but the question was, can you personalize the gradebook? Like for kindergartners, using a standards gradebook, would you be able to personalize that?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's came up a lot. That's a question you'll need to talk with your school district on, and how, what their policies are for the grade book. But with the grades, I didn't talk about that yet. If you go here to the gear, and you go down here, you have add grade category and grading calculations. So you can change it from total points weighted by category or no overall grade. But as far as syncing the standards and into here, I don't think Google has a way to do that yet. I could be wrong. I know that's been an ask to do that. But this is basically the grades that we see. Another question that's been asked about grades is with the self-contained teachers, if they don't want to grade everything on here, and if they sync it, I guess the big question is if your school district syncs this with your student information system, whether it's Teacher Ease, Power School, Skyward, there's others out there as well. But again, that's on the back end with your tech department and how they have it set up with the different student information systems. Does that answer that person's question? I know it might not be what they want to hear yet.
Sarah, does that answer your question?
So Sarah, yeah, the biggest thing is talk to your tech people and who's your Google admin and how they've got it set up. But Kelly, her main question was asking if can you ask the question one more time?
Yeah, it says, can you personalize the gradebook? So for like kindergarten, can it be more of a standards-based gradebook?
Yeah, and as of right now, I don't believe so. It's got the grade calculation here, but hopefully maybe someday soon, Google will add the standards-based into the grading system here as well, because that's been a big ask. So great question. Kelly, were there any other questions?
Sarah just had a follow-up, and it says with SPN grades.
I don't know that answer. I don't know if you can put that, because all I see here is total points weighted by category. I don't know if we do no overall grade. If there's any way, then you could put in those. So yeah, great question. If anybody knows that answer, please put it in chat and let us know. If anybody wants to Google that while I'm doing the workshop too, and let us know what you find out. So as you can see, hopefully you will be comfortable with this, that it's okay that you don't know everything. As you can see with Sarah asking that question, I don't know for sure that answer, but I know that's been an ask before from other teachers that, and I know people have pushed it out to Google, and you know, Google's constantly changing things here. So hopefully we will see even some more updates come August from Google Classroom. I know some of you might not want to hear that, but that's one great thing, how, you know, we don't have to wait until we purchase a new, the new, you know, version of it. They push out things all the time. So for example, what Google did when we went remote learning here in March, people were using Google Meets. There were kids joining the Google Meets before the teacher, and you know, wasn't very secure in the very beginning. And what Google did was, you know, by April, they pushed out a Google Meet here on the classroom that students could access Google Meet, but they can't get into it until the teacher's in there. So that, you know, real time, you know, they pushed that out. Are they still making changes to Google Meet? They are. It is, you know, I've seen so many new extensions and helpful tools out there to help with Google Meet. Off the top of my head, I can think of 6 new extensions, I think, since March for Google Meet, because people are using it more, whereas people didn't have a need to use it before this remote learning. So since we're talking about Google Meet, how does this work? It's video conferencing. And again, if you don't see it on your screen in your classroom, if you are in a Google class, you might come over here to the gear, and down here at the gear, you've got Google Meet right here. I do have the option, do I want it visible to students or not? So if I don't want it visible to students, I just click on this right here, it turns it off. If I want it visible to students, I can turn it on. What you can do as a teacher, you can keep it visible to the students all the time. Again, they can't join the Google Meet unless the teacher's in there. And I can show you that here. So it saves you one less step to have to do, because before Google pushed this out, what teachers were doing was, like with my son's classes, they were sending him the Google Meet link in Google Classroom about 10 minutes before the class started. So they were having to work harder about going in and getting a link, pushing it out to the students, just so that the students didn't join before them. In this case, students can join, again, the link's there. They can only join when the teacher's in there. So let me go over to Blake's Google Classroom, and let's say Blake, he's talked to some of his friends and they say, oh, let's go do a Google Meet right now. So if Blake wants to, he clicks on Google Meet, and this is what he gets. You can't create a meeting yourself. So this has been updated even from yesterday. I think some of you were on our workshop yesterday for Google Meet. They had a different message here for Google Meet than it is today. So again, they're pushing out things all the time, and you might not know until you go and click on that link. So right here, this message, you can't create a meeting yourself. So he thinks, oh, he can't get into the meeting. Well, usually with Google Meet, what some teachers are doing is, you know, if the Google Meet was supposed to happen at 10 o'clock, they may, as the teacher, they may go into that Google Meet about 9:50. It gives the kids a chance, for those that want to join early, gives them a chance to join early and maybe have a conversation with other students or even with the teacher. So let me go over here then to the teacher. And so I'm the teacher here. So I click on this. So I can go into the Google Meet. And so then I can join. I'm waiting so I can turn off my microphone. And since I have other extensions, what's slowing it down are these extensions that I have, the plugins being installed. So at any time, if you do have some of these other extensions, I can turn those off if I'm not using them. So I'm going to see if it lets me turn it off here. Okay, it's just going slow. But if I turn some of these extensions off, then it will not, let me go as slow. And you see I have a virtual background here. Let me turn that off. I have visual effects. You don't need to do all of these extensions here, but they're just different things. Okay. So if I hit join now, so the teacher's joined into this Google Meet. Now I'll go over to the student side of it. And let's say, okay, Blake knows that at 10 o'clock that he's supposed to join the Google Meet. He clicks on the Google Meet, and then it lets him in. Remember, he tried to go to the Google Meet before the teacher, and he got this message. He can't join without the teacher. The teacher's in it, shows him the teacher's in the call, and he hits join now. So if you want to learn more about Google Meet, you can look at the recording on my YouTube channel from the workshop. I believe for the people who are on, I think it was just yesterday, right? So you could look at that as well. So as you can see then here in Google Meet, the students can't join until the teacher's in. Now, one thing with this is, let's say the class is done and you are ready to leave, you tell everyone bye. Some students are still in the Google Meet. So what you would have to do is come up here to the people. You can see who's in the Google Meet. Let's say you're ready to go and you see Blake he's still on there. What you will have to do, you will have to remove each student that hasn't left yet. Why? Because if you don't remove them, they will still be in the Google Meet. So here's a teacher, Google Meet. I'll go ahead and X out of it. I'll go back to the student side of the Google Meet. The students can still be in the Google Meet even though the teacher left. So this is why it's so important to remove the students when you're ready to leave. But as you can see, so if another student and him were in here, they could be talking, but when he's ready, he could just X out of it. But again, you as a teacher could go back in that Google Meet and Blake would still be there, or whatever other student's still there. So why did Google put this link up here? Again, it saves some steps for the teacher to have to go and create a Google Meet link, push it out to the students right before the meeting. So in this case, students can't join the Google Meet until the teacher is in the Google Meet. So they do have some security there. And I don't know if Kristen, I wrote a note yesterday, she asked about Google Meet, about if it follows the HIPAA and FERPA guidelines. And I do have a link to share with that. I didn't write down your last name, Kristen, so I didn't know if you're here with us today. If so, maybe shoot me an email and I can get you that link about how secure it is. Okay, so that was on about Google Meet. Again, if you don't see Google Meet on yours, again, the Google admin might have to turn it on the back end. If they've got it turned on, come here, look at your settings for your class and see if you just need to turn it on here. But again, it's secure as far as the students can't join until the teacher joins. So if I go back here to the slide deck and look at the stream, I've got, some different information here on the stream. Again, don't forget that year. One thing here I didn't talk about is how you can change your theme or even add your own photo. You can even create your own image here if you want. There's, again, ways to do that. I've never done it. I've just always used either uploaded my own photo here or selected a theme that Google has out there. But again, if you've got plenty of time on your hands, you can go and create your own as well and just upload it as a photo. But again, you can select a photo from your computer here as well. So if you have a class photo that you took and you want to put it up there, you could do that as well. So again, stream basically is a place to announce things. You can have your classwork notifications there. You can also have conversations here in the stream. If you don't, you do have options over how that looks, coming up here to the gear and going down and scrolling down through here for the settings. Any questions about the stream? Any other questions out there?
Not seeing any.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Kelly. All right, so the next part here, I'm going to go to Classwork. This is where you post your work that you want your students to do. So right here, I clicked on the Classwork page, and if you come over here, I've got topics. You can decide what you want for the topics. Some people put it by the week. Some people put it by the chapter. Some people can put certain different topics that they're going to cover. The younger classroom teachers might, have a topic for science, have all of their science assignments under the topic science. They might have social studies, math, and topics like that. So again, there's multiple ways to do this. So if I go right here to create, this is where I can create an assignment, quiz assignment, question, material, or reuse post. So even though I've created a post for another classroom, or even for an archive class maybe that I created last year, I can reuse that post. So let me just go in and hit create assignment. And here's what you've got. So you need to put a title on your assignment. So whatever that assignment may be, let's, if I want to say this is multiplication assignment, let's say we were looking at the fives, multiplication by fives. I can put that for my title. Here in the instructions, again, this could be optional. The instructions could be on the assignment itself. Sometimes teachers put the instructions here as well. What I'm also seeing during this time of remote learning is teachers are putting instructions here for parents. Again, depending on the age level students you work with, whether the instructions would be there. But some of the things that they're putting in the instructions are questions, discussion questions that they might have with the kids based off of that assignment to help these parents. Because again, these parents didn't go to school to become teachers. And so not only are you teaching your students, but you're actually like a coach, coaching these parents how to help their students. So that's another great way to put some of the discussion questions or things that you can help the parents to have conversations about these assignments with their child. So then right down here is where I can add or create the things that I want in the assignment. So here, if I want to add, let's say I want to add some things from Google Drive for my students. So if I have some documents there I want them to refer to, I just hit add. I can, as you can see, I can hit go to recent, I can upload, I can go to my drive, I can go to my shared drive. So if it's something that was shared with me that I want to upload, I could. So let's say I want to upload this Google Drawings I Wonder Thought assignment. I can go and hit add. Right here, once I've added this, I can have the students view file, I can have the students edit file, or I can make a copy for each student. So for this assignment, I want each of the students to have their own copy. So I'm going to make a copy for each student. So what will happen then when I assign this assignment out there, Google on the back end makes a copy for each of the students with their name on it. if I want to go back to add Google Drive and I have another document that I want to share here. Let's say I want to share this hyperdoc here. I click add. So here is a doc. This doc, they're just going to use to refer to look at some instructions and the lesson. So I just want them to view the file, because if I put edit the file, then they can go in and delete everything on that file. So let me just put view file. And then if I go back and let's say I have a YouTube video out there about the farm. Just real quick, I'm just going to put in Jerry Brooks. I know I don't think he has any on the farm, but I just want to show you about putting a video in. So as you can see, I can, when I go to add YouTube video, I can type in and do a search, or I can go by the URL. So if I know exactly what video I want, I can copy and paste the URL here and it'll put it in there. If not, I can search it by, you know, what if I put the farm in and it searches farm videos, and then I can put that in. And so just select on it, select the video here and hit add. So I'll go ahead and delete that one. So do you see when I put a video in here, it doesn't give me the option like it does up here. And then let me add one more document in here to show you that I want students to edit the file. So to do that, if I go back here to recent and see if it loads. And as you can see, even with my hotspot, the internet connections. Okay, so let's say for some reason I want them to edit this file. I add that and I want the students to be able to edit that file. So I've got 3 different documents here I've added. One will make a copy for each student, one will view the file, and one where students can edit the file. Now, if I wanted them to create something, if I wanted them to create something from a Google Docs, I could do a create right here and have them create, you know, from docs or drawings, whatever it is. I can go ahead and set that up and hit create. And right now it's creating a Google Drawings document for this file. It brings me up a new tab. Do I want to give this a name? Let me see. So originally I called this title multiplication by 5s. So if I wanted for them to do an assignment, you know, show me a drawing of 5 things, you know, showing me that they know their multiplication by 5s, I can go ahead and put in that same name here. And then do I want the students to view file, edit file, or make a copy for each student? So even if I don't have something created here in the beginning, I can always create it once I'm in the assignment. How I usually operate, I've always usually had the things created first, and then I just add them to my drive or to this assignment. So then I can come over here where it says 4. Right now I'm in the differentiation workshop. Again, that's the default since I am in that class. And over here with all students, just like on the assignment page, on not the assignment page, on the announcements, I have a choice of who I want to assign this assignment to. So again, if I know that I want Blake to receive this but not Lisa, I can just click off of who I want to receive this assignment and who I want it. Why would you do this? Again, we have this option here in case if you have some students that have an IEP or a 504 plan, or you have to differentiate. So the assignment could all look the same, except maybe some of the assignments that you've added on your assignment page could be a little bit different. So you might be assigning almost the exact same assignment to the students, but again, it could be a little bit different based on their plan that they may have. So again, what if I need this assignment to be posted to a few classes? Again, I can select the classes that I want it posted to, but when I do, I can't select the students. So you need to remember that. Again, if you don't, you'll learn as you go. Points here, here's where you put the points. If it's ungraded, you can put ungraded as well. So if I want to put 25 points here right now, I can't. No due date right now. What I have learned over the years with the students, if I didn't put a due date in, they wouldn't work on it. So I would always put a due date in. Could I always adjust that due date? I can. So whether you're face-to-face with them or remote learning, that you can always adjust it. So let's say kids should be able to get this done in a week's time when we're in the classroom. And you know, I see that here at next Friday, the kids aren't done. I can go in and adjust the due date and adjust live to their accounts as well. So let me put this as June 11th. Topic here, the topics you saw on my classwork page that they were to the left. I also have the topics here. So if I want to put this under if the multiplication by fives, if I want to put it under the math topic, if I don't have a topic here that I want to put it under, I can create one right from here. So I can create one on the classwork page. I could create one here right when I'm assigning it to, but I'll go ahead and put it under the math. If I have a rubric here with it, I can put a rubric in here. By adding a rubric, I can create one from here. I can reuse one, and I can even import one from Sheets. And then Originality Reports. With our G Suite education account, the Originality Reports, what this does is it will run a report up to 3 times per classroom to see for plagiarism. So if you've got, it only allows you to run it 3 times, and what it does, the kids get to run it before they turn it in. So if you want them to turn on Originality Reports, then they get to run it to see what they may need to reword or rephrase in their own words before they turn it in. So another great tool there to help students learn about plagiarism and, you know, putting things in their own words. But if you're not having the Originality Reports, you know, if they're not doing writing for this assignment, don't turn that on, because you only have up to 3 free with your Google, your G Suite Apps for Education account. So right here then, if this is how I like it, I can go ahead and assign it right now. If I don't want to assign it right now, click on this drop down arrow. I could schedule it. I could save it as a draft for later. And if I need to, you know, put more instructions here, I can do that. But I'll go ahead and hit assign right now. And I'm going to move to the student account here. So this is Blake's account. If I go to the classwork page, here I've got the stuff here at the top isn't under any topics. It's just, I didn't assign it a topic, so it just goes there. Here's the assignments for the farm topic, insert learning. So I need to go down to math. So I can scroll down to go down to math, or if the student knows to go to math, they can just come click on math over here and see the assignment. It hasn't posted yet. Okay, I think it's posted now. Let me refresh it. Okay, so then it shows up here at the bottom. the teacher posted a new assignment, multiplication by 5s. Now, if I go back here to stream, did I turn off my notifications? Yeah, so I hid notifications, so nothing shows up on stream. If I go back here to show condensed notification and I save it, so this is the teacher account, then it should show up on my stream and the student stream. So right there, I just put a condensed notification. It doesn't show all of the assignments that I attached. So then if I switch back to Blake's, let me refresh the screen. Then here on stream, it shows, hey, the teacher posted a new assignment. So it lets them know that a new assignment was posted there. Again, whatever you decide on how to set this up, you will need to make sure you explain to your kids, you know, some of the things that I'm explaining to you today, because they may not know to look on stream for the assignments. Also, if you have, you know, students with multiple teachers that use Google Classroom, how one teacher sets up their Google Classroom might not be the way that you set up your Google Classroom. So again, one teacher might hide all notifications and the students don't look there for assignments. And you might decide to show your condensed notifications, so you tell the students to look there for their assignments. So Blake could go into his assignment right from here if he wants. He could go to the Classwork page and go to the assignment as well. Here's math. He knows it's under math, and he can go and look at the assignment. So let me show you then here on what Blake's screen looks like. So here it shows the teacher has a Google Docs for the students, for the lesson plan, the list here, and it also has a video here. And what I like about this, it shows how long the video is as well. Okay, over here to the right-hand side is his work that's been assigned to him. So the teacher created and added this Google Drawings here for Blake to create, and he can then edit this. Do you see right up here, it says Blake LTC, and I wonder thought cloud mental image. So he didn't have to type in anything up here for the title. It is all right there for him. So he can't say he named it something different. So Google has the naming conventions. When you make a copy for each student, it puts their name there, and then it puts the title that you have named it when you assigned it. Also right here, it's got this other Google Drawings that you created when you were assigning it. Put again his name there, and you named it multiplication by 5s. Again, as you can see on this one, you could put instructions over here for the kids to see, because you know, would they always go back to this tab to look at the instructions? Again, some may or may not. I guess the more places you have your instructions, hopefully the better that they won't miss something. So another thing you could do here, let's say you want to give, you know, your students some choice in what app they use to create the assignment. So if you had an instructions here for them, you know, to show you the multiplication by 5s, whether it's pictures or drawings, they could come over here and go to add or create themselves. If they hit add or create, again, if they created something that's already in their Google Drive or a link or another file, they could go ahead and go out there and access it and put it here on their assignment. So, you know, here's some of Blake's work. So let's say he created this for this assignment. He can click on this, hit add, and it puts it in here for his assignment, and it will be turned in when he turns it in. Okay. So if he wanted to, he can, right from this assignment page, I've turned on stream for class comments. He can make a comment to the whole class from right here. He could also send me, the teacher, a comment here and say, you know, Mrs. Schwartz, I don't understand this assignment. You know, when you have time, can we meet and discuss? And so I would only get that comment. It shows add private comment. and then he just hits that, and that goes privately to me. If he puts a comment here, so he could have a conversation with the other students. So he could then post that, and that would go to the class comments. So then he could have a conversation with students. Again, this is privately only to the teacher. With this, again, there's 3 dots. He can delete this if he decides, he doesn't have that question anymore. So then when Blake is done with all of this work, then he can turn it in. Okay. What if a student forgets to turn it in? Can we tell that they've still done this or have completed this? So let me go back to the teacher side. And if I go to Classwork, I'll go here to Math and go to the assignment here. It's saying 0's turned in, but 2's assigned. Right here with this assignment, do you see Blake posted a class comment here, and then other students, even the teacher, can have a conversation right here as well. If I go into this assignment here, this shows me, who's turned in and who's assigned. If I click on these 3 attachments that Blake has done, I can kind of take a look. Even though he hasn't turned this in, I can see what he's worked on. So it looks like that first one, he hasn't done anything. If I scroll through this, I can see what the other students have done as well. But if I go back to Blake, this shows up this assignment here. Here's another assignment, the I wonder. I can see if he's worked on that even before, or this is live. So if he is working on this, I can see, oh, he's got some of this started. He hasn't turned this in yet though. And then so here was just something else I put on that he added into his assignments, and then we can see, okay, he's done some work on here. So again, you can see all of this before they actually hit the turn in. If I didn't have several attachments here, I could kind of get a thumbnail view of what they're working on just from here. I wouldn't have to click on that. Over here, do you see I can sort by status of first name, last name. I can see who's turned in and who's been assigned. It will sort it there for you. Up here, I put it for 25 points. Let's say I only meant it to be 20 points. I can change that right here. It says update point value. I go ahead and update it. Okay. Again, I've got a gear over here. That gear, I can download these grades as a CSV. Once I have them, I can copy all my grades to Google Sheets, or even download all grades as a CSV file as well. But again, if your Google Classroom syncs with your student information system, that will happen on the back end. You won't have to do any of that. So this was the teacher view. And this was the student view. So another thing I showed you where the students could go ahead and add files, but let's say they wanted to create a file from here and they had some choice. Do they want to create a Google Slides or Sheets for this assignment? You can give them, some choice, and then they can just go in and create a new slide deck. What it does, it will give it the naming convention here. So it gives it Blake's name, multiplication by 5s. Why? Because that's the name of the assignment. And then the student can open up that and they have the Google Slides right there. Again, magically, again, it's the algorithm Google set up on the back end. It names it, has a naming convention of their name and the title of the assignment. And then again, one thing with working with students with Google Classroom, in the beginning, the students would forget to turn it in. So, you might just have to remind them to turn it in and click on the turn in button, hit turn in. It says, hey, 4 attachments will be submitted. Do you want to turn it in? Yep. Hit turn in, and it's turned in. And while it's turning in, let's say Blake realizes, oh, I forgot to, finish something on here. He can go back here, and let's say he clicks on this right here. It's view only. Why is it view only now for Blake? This was Blake's, but it's view only. The reason is because he's turned it in. The teacher has it then to grade. The reason it's view only, they can't make changes to it while it's turned in, because could you imagine if they could make changes and you were grading it, and let's say they got a 5 out of 10 on it, and then all of a sudden you look again and it shows they have all of their work. So it's to help you from going insane over what they've turned in. So if for some reason Blake needs to access this again, what I found, students will request edit access. They don't need to do that, but you'll get probably plenty of emails requesting edit access. All they can do, all they have to do, if it's before the due date, they can hit unsubmit. Hit unsubmit. It lets you know, hey, unsubmit to add or change attachments. And then it says, don't forget to resubmit once you're done. Hit unsubmit. And then it's unsubmitting. Then if I go back to this, so this was the assignment, the view only. If I go back to this and click on the same thing, he's unsubmitted the work. Now he has editing rights to it. But once it's turned in, they don't have editing rights to it until you return it to them. Then they can have editing rights back to it, or they hit unsubmit. But the unsubmit button is right here. Once they've turned it in, then they can unsubmit it right here. So again, this is a lot of information to take in today. Hopefully you're taking a deep breath and not getting too overwhelmed or stressed out there. Don't forget you will have a recording of this as well. And that the more you do this and work with the students on Google Classroom, the more you'll understand and learn about this. It makes you realize what your students go through when you're teaching them some new things that, after 10 days, we've done the same thing. Why haven't you gotten this? Well, repetition. Hopefully they will get it, by the end of the year. Another thing, maneuvering and navigating around Google Classroom. If I click on this differentiation workshop up here, it takes me back to the stream. That's the home page here. If I hold down this back arrow right up here, and I click on it and hold it, I can go to different places within my Google Classroom as well. So that's another way to navigate around Google Classroom. I can show the full history here if I want. If not, by just holding down and clicking on this back arrow, it'll show me, the assignments, or, go to the Classwork page in my Google Classroom. So right up here, create. What I just showed you was creating this assignment, and we created the math, or this assignment under math. Let's say, oh, I don't want it under math, I want it under a different topic. You can go to the 3 dots here and go to edit. And right here, I can change the topic. I can change almost everything that I've done. There's a couple of things you can't change once you assign this to the students. Okay, so right here, each student will get a copy. Once you've made an assignment and you've given it to the students and you had it make a copy for each student, you can't go back and change that. If you've made that mistake, and that might happen, it's okay. What you would have to do is reuse the post and then delete the old post. So I'll show you reusing a post here in a second. Let's say this animal farm lesson plan, the Google Docs that you want students can view file. Let's say, oh, you need students to edit this file. You can change that. You can change back and forth between view and edit a file. What you can't change is when you post this, assign this to the kids, you can't go back in and change student will get a copy, because again, on the back end, what Google has done, they created this document with their name on it and the title for each of the students. So on Blake's, it was Blake, LTC, and then I Wonder, Thought Cloud, Mental Image. So just know that, again, you might not remember it. It's okay. You'll remember when you try to change it after the fact. So let's say, you know, I messed up and I didn't want the kids to have a copy of something. So what I could do, I can come up here and go back here. So I had to click on Classwork to go back here to create, and I want to reuse a post. So right now this is reusing a post from one of my archived classes. I could choose from one of these. I don't want to, so I hit the back arrow. I want to reuse a post from this workshop, differentiation workshop. And here's the title I want to reuse. And I hit reuse. So instead of deleting the whole assignment just yet, after if you've made a mistake about making a copy, just go up here and hit reuse, and then it will bring up the assignment, and then you can make changes that way. And this is only if you've made a mistake about making a copy. So do you remember before when I assigned it, it just showed make a copy for each student. It didn't have this arrow there. Here, I can change it. Why? Because I'm making a new assignment. So if you make a mistake on this right here, this is the only way you can do that, is reuse the post and then just change it to whatever you need it to be. Again, this might not make any sense right now until you actually go in and create an assignment and make the mistake. So trust me, I've made lots of mistakes. I still make mistakes, and you learn from them, hopefully, right? Maybe after a couple times. But so this is reusing a post. Does this post look just like what I created a few minutes ago? It does. So, you know, let's say I need to assign it to a different class. I can assign it to a different class, but just whatever class I'm in, like I'm still in the differentiation workshop class, so it's going to go in there. I don't know, I'm just thinking, what if, okay, so the default is it will go definitely in the differentiation workshop class because that's the one I'm in, reusing the post. But I could open up my Spanish classroom and reuse a post from another class if I want to. And then so up here, then I can assign it. Let me show you on assign. Before I had all three of these all clear that I could use them. The scheduling a post of this assignment, I can't schedule it when I'm assigning it to more than one class. So that's grayed out. So if I just change it back to the default class that I'm working in, I come up here to assign. I have schedule and I can assign it. So there are a few things that, you know, if you want it for multiple classes, it will only assign it, or you can't schedule it. You can just assign it right now or save it as a draft for all those classes. So again, if that doesn't, you know, make sense, hopefully it'll make sense when, you know, maybe come back to this video if you need to, like, oh yeah, she talked about this, but I didn't get it. Well, you'll get it when it happens to you. So right here, when I go in to edit the original post, oh, this was, let's see. Oh, that was the one that's a draft. Okay, so this is a good thing. So I have two identical posts here. This one's a draft. It's not blue, and it shows draft here. That's the one I'm going to reuse. So then, you know, if I did make a mistake on this one, this is when I would make sure to go and delete it after I've reused the post. So right here, I'm going back to this assignment. Do you see where I don't have that option of the drop-down arrow up here? Because I already posted this assignment to the kids' account when I assigned it. All right, so that's a lot that we've covered. We're not done, but I'll pause here for Kelly if there's questions, or if
They've been answering the question. They've been having some side conversations, and I think everything is answered. Please speak up there in the chat box if you guys have anything that hasn't been, answered.
perfect. That's what I love. And do you see, having this chat going, it's great. A great way, after you teach your students and the students get comfortable with the other students in the classroom, that they could have conversations among themselves. And that's what, my hope is for the stream, again, depending on the age level of kids you work with, that they can do that in the stream as well. So good to hear. Thank you. All right, so another thing under classwork here. Again, I've got the Google Meet link here that the students can access and the teacher can access. This is the teacher side of it. The Google Calendar, what's nice about this is everything is linked to the Google Calendar. I didn't create this. This was on the back end of Google. And what Google did here was every time you create a class in Google Classroom, it creates a calendar for you. So right now I have my differentiation workshop up and it's my purple. So let me turn off my work calendar. So then the kids could see one by one what's due in all of their classes. They can turn them on and off by coming over here and clicking this. So how did I get to calendar? I could go to my calendar app if I wanted to in the waffle, but all I did was I went up here to Google Calendar. When I clicked on that, it took me to calendar and it shows all of my calendars over here. So I will tell you this, if you do archive a class, and I don't mean to be overwhelming you, but when you click on these three dots here, you can hide this calendar from the list if you want, or if you go to settings and sharing, you can delete a calendar if you archive the class. So you could delete it, or you can even unsubscribe to it. But usually when I archive my classes, I would just delete the calendar because I don't need that anymore. Do you have to? No, you don't have to. But that's just another thing you could do with that. So again, so if the student, is a student in multiple classes, and if they've got tons of things up there, they can just select the different classes one at a time to see what's due. So again, this is another visual for them to kind of come here and see, okay, it looks like today, June 10th, I have an assignment due at 3:59 p.m. That's another thing you can do. You can put a certain time when it's due. If not, it can just say assignment due. So the difference here, and I learned this last week, that when I was presenting on the calendar here with Classroom, I'm like, okay, why are some of these just a dot and why is this full? The reason behind this is when you put a time on there, it'll just have the time there. When you don't have a time on there, it just shows that this assignment's due today on June 11th. So the students, again, another visual that they can kind of come see what's due, because it can be overwhelming here in the classwork to see all of these assignments. Again, within here, you can click on these three dots. I can move this up within this topic farm. I can even click on this and move it to different topics as well and drag it down by just holding down my mouse. If I click on the topic, I can move the topic down, so I can move different topics up and down. Again, I can drag and drop them too. So again, multiple ways to do the same thing. If I look over here, I've got some a clipboard, some a question, and that's just, this was a question that I put down. This was the assignment. This one's grayed out because it's just a draft and it shows me it's a draft. Here it shows me when it's due and the time it's due. Here, it just shows if it's posted and if it was edited. Okay, so Google Calendar then is another way for the students to see what's due if this becomes overwhelming to them. Another tip here on Classwork that people do is they number all of their assignments. So then the kids and you could maybe easily see what assignment's next. When I used Google Classroom in the class, we didn't have topics. It was just by the date I assigned it. And I remember kids scrolling through like, okay, what was that assignment? We kind of had to kind of look through this. So right now, what makes this easier is the topics that they've got now. And then some teachers are putting numbers by the assignments to know, hey, this is the 20th assignment I've assigned, and they put the number sign and put a 20 there to know, okay, so then the students can look by the number, like, okay, the 20th, we're on assignment 20, so we go to 20. So again, multiple ways and thinking of how to organize your classwork page. You do what works for you, but just make sure that you explain this to your students, because how you think might, and we know everyone thinks differently. So you're thinking, the students might not understand your thinking on how you've set up your classwork page. So again, that's okay. Just make sure you convey it to the students, your way of organizing your classwork page. Another thing we talked about at the beginning is on the back end, Google Classroom creates a Drive folder for you. So again, I can go to my Google Drive right here. And when I go to my Google Drive, it's taking me to the differentiation workshop drive or folder in my Google Drive. So right here, if you haven't used Google Drive before, again, I just clicked on this link here to take me to my drive. I can always, if I want to go to my drive, I can go to a new tab up here and go to my drive this way. I can type in drive.google.com. But Classroom syncs with Google Drive on the back end. So what Classroom did, if I go to my drive here, here's my Google Drive. If I go down to Classroom, do you see this folder here? I didn't create this folder. Again, Google created this once I started with my first Classroom. Most of these other folders I did create. But anytime you add an app or an extension, it says it needs access to your Google Drive. On the back end, they're creating a folder. If you've used Screencastify, if you have that as an extension, it says when you allow Screencastify on your computer, it says it needs access to your Google Drive. The reason being because that's where it puts all your screencast in a folder it creates on the back end. So here in Classroom, all of these folders here are the folders of my Google Classes. I didn't create any of these. And it does have the sharing ability so that, again, the students' work goes in here. One folder I did create here was this archive class. So to create a new folder, I can right click here, create a new folder. I can come up here and go to new folder, same thing, just again, multiple ways to do it. And I give it a name and create. So what I did, my archive classes, I just have one so far, is my Intro to Computer Science class. I put in my archive class. I'm not using it right now, but I still have it there if I want to reuse post. No new changes can be made to the class, but if I go right here, everything I have in here is still there. So it just gets it out of my Classroom folder because I'm not actively using it. Do you have to do that? No, you don't. That's just a tip if you do archive classes in the future and want to move them over. So to move them over, all I have to do is I can drag and drop it if I want. I can right click on it and move to, and then I can move to that folder. So multiple ways to move folders around. So you can see I can have folders within my Classroom folder. So if I go into my differentiation workshop folder, then, and I can see what the students have. So even from the thumbnail view, I can see, so Blake, from this thumbnail view, I can see that he's answered some of these questions. He answered them in blue, and he doesn't have them all answered. I can see, oh, Lisa hasn't started working on this. That was another trick I did when I was having the students answer questions. just to quickly see that, you know, this thumbnail view, if they are answering them, I usually had them change the font color to blue, just so that I could quickly see that. Do you have to? No. Did all the kids change it? No, not necessarily, but over time, you know, they got used to changing the font color. And it was just, that was just my way of quickly seeing the thumbnail view of, have they even started on this? So you can see it that way. So if I go back to the classroom, I will tell you though, usually I didn't go to my Google Drive to look at the assignments. I just looked at the assignments in the Google Classroom. So if I go down here, if I go back to that Google Trainer, assignment that I just showed you, and do you see I'm scrolling through? I don't see it. Do I? Google Trainer, it was an assignment. So do you see why if it's a number by there, it would be easier to find than me looking for the Google Trainer assignment? Am I in the wrong class? I don't even see it right now. Okay. Let me see if I can show you what I wanted to show you then when I'm in my classroom here. You know, just the thumbnail view, but the thumbnail view is very similar to what you just saw here. So you can see that. So this was under the class drive folder. If I go to people, so right now within my own organization, I added Elizabeth as a collaborator to this class. How do you do that? Just come up here, invite teachers, and put in their name or email, and then invite them. Usually you can only invite teachers that are within your own Google domain, within your own school district, and then you can invite them. Now they will have, it says teachers you add can do everything you can except delete the class. So if someone wants to join your class and you don't want them to touch anything, you could add them as students so that they can see the student side of things. Again, if I want to, yeah.
I had a quick question because I was just kind of working on that while you were presenting with Google Drive. So we're really new to it. And we created in Google Drive, a biology folder. So, and that as we worked, we could drop things in there. How does that work? Like if I put something in there and someone else wants to use it, but they want to change a couple of the questions to be a better fit for them, I suggested like being careful with that. I don't know how it works, but can you talk to that kind of along the same thread? I'm afraid of people, like we all want to share, but I'm afraid of people modifying things that I have it set the way I want it without like maybe renaming it, or how does that work?
Yeah, so, you know, if it's a Google Doc that you have, my suggestion, let me see if I have another one up here. Share it ahead of time with them and have them make a copy of it so that they're not changing the original one. Especially with people being new to Google. You know, I remember being new to Google, other teachers sharing things with me. And I'm making changes and I didn't realize, oh, it made changes for all of us, just not me. There is a learning curve with this. So if I go to my drive here and if I go, let's see. Now let me just go to, I'll create a new doc here. Go to docs.new. So here's another shortcut way to create a new doc that you need to work on. And I think, who was this that asked the question? I'm sorry.
Michelle.
Okay, so Michelle, I think this is what you're asking. If it's not, please interrupt me. So let's say that you've got this document that a bunch of teachers are going to share out with their students and your PLC that you talked about. So if you want, my suggestion, share it. When you share it with the other teachers, let's say you're the owner, go up here to share. Again, oh, I'm using my hotspot and I was getting a phone call, so that's why it's not going here. Did I freeze up or can you still hear me? Yeah, okay. All right, so this is just taking a moment for it to load. That's one great thing about using your hotspot. Okay. Oh, it won't let me share it before I name it. So let me give it a name. All right, so when I share it with people, right now it says it's restricted, only people can open this link. What I can do, so usually if I want to share it with anyone with the link or within my own Google domain, I can. I'll put anyone with the link and come over here and I can have them view it or comment or editor. If you don't want them to change it, just make it so that they view it. And then when I share it with them, Michelle, is your email fairly easy if I type it in?
No, well, it's not bad.
Okay.
So it's Michelle, E-L-L-E dot, and then the last name is B as in boy, U-C-H-H-E-I-T at CCHS165.
Is it HHS or HSS?
No, not two S's.
Okay.
Yep, 165.com.
So then when I share this with you, I'm letting you view it. Then what you will want to do is make a copy of it, and then you can make changes to it however you want.
Okay,
And
thank you.
You're welcome. It won't affect mine. Then if you want, if some other teachers want to, if you do have collaborators on here and they want to reuse some of your posts, they could, if they're a collaborator, they could reuse a post from here. But again, in the beginning, I would recommend them being a student, and then they can see what you're assigning, and you can even share the work with them by hitting the share button that way. So just so that they don't accidentally mess up your class.
Yeah, we just have, we're all learning. And so we just, in our Google Drive, we made a folder. We just said, we're starting to make stuff, let's put it in one spot. And so we made a folder and then I invited each person to the folder. But then I kind of was nervous about them changing things. So it's how I put the documents in the folder. And so we can talk about that. We're meeting on Monday. So
Okay.
we can tell them they can view it or they can make a copy of it first. And that not to do their settings the right way. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And to go on that, there's other ways to force them to make a copy too. So if you go to my YouTube channel, there's some videos from other workshops. I know you probably won't want to sit through the whole entire thing, but you could fast forward it, or even take a look at side notes if you turn that on as well on the YouTube channel. And you can get to my YouTube channel from this link on slide 1 or even on slide 2. So I will again put this recording there. And again, like Michelle was saying, there is so much to learn. Am I still learning? I am. Things are constantly changing. I've learned, I double check on a document if it's a shared document, of if I can make changes to it. If I'm not for sure, sometimes I put file, make a copy first, so I don't make mistakes. I know we're getting close to the end here. Again, I do want to let you know, if you go back to the slide deck, as you saw, I didn't talk from the slide deck. It's there more as a resource for you to maybe go back through. I didn't get to the grading part of this. Here on, looking at slide 32, it talks about the grades here in Google Classroom. I do have on some of my other videos, I did talk about the grading in Google Classroom. if you keep scrolling down, there's other information, but if you could make sure if you can fill out this evaluation here on slide 48, or it was on slide 2 as well, and let me know any suggestions or what you liked or didn't like about the workshop today. That's how I learn and grow as well. So please put your comments there. And then you will also get the evaluation from ROE1 for your PD hours as well. And again, since this is Friday, allow, it could come to you today. If not, allow, probably if you don't have it in your email by Tuesday, you can reach out to me to let me know that you haven't received it. So I guess I have a couple minutes left, but feel free, you can go when you need to. I will stay on for a while if there's more questions that you may have. I would love to answer those, but again, hopefully you're not disappointed that I didn't get to grades. If you are, stay on, I can talk about that, but you got a lot of information today and you may be feeling overwhelmed. I didn't mean to make you feel overwhelmed, but that just lets you know when you're learning new things, there's a lot to learn, and the more you practice and use it, the better you will get at it. So thank you, and feel free, you can unmute yourself now if you would like to ask questions or have conversations with other teachers. We've got teachers from throughout the state here that if you want to see what's going on in other school districts and have questions, either ask me or ask other people in this meeting as well.
I had a question, Lisa.
Yeah.
When students log in to the classroom, can they delete themselves from the class? Is there a way to lock them in?
There's not right now. So yeah, great question. They can, I'll share my screen real quick again and show you that. Was that Travis, you asking the question?
Yes.
Okay. So right here, this is Blake's classes that he's in. If he goes to this class card and clicks on these 3 dots here, they can unenroll from a class if they choose. Right now, there's no way that we can lock them in. You just have to assign them back in, give them the code again, if they accidentally do that. But I was thinking if you Google, there's an extension, I think, that you can see who's all in your class at all the time. If a student would unenroll. I'm trying to think what the extension's called. I forget what it's called. If you Google, extension, if you can't find it, let me know and I can look it up as well. But they can just re-enroll by giving them the code again. Have you had that happen before, Travis?
Yeah, doing the remote learning right now. I had some students who had signed up and had done all the work, and then they were seniors, and then they got done early, and so all of a sudden they were gone from the class. They just deleted themselves from the course and that. So I'm just wondering about if you're got these grades and all that kind of stuff on there, and they just unenroll themselves.
Yeah. Especially seniors, right?
Yeah. So I was just wondering if there was a way to, once they log in, to just lock them into the course so that they're always there. They can't leave. But
yeah, here. Let me see. I'm typing in extensions for Google Classroom here to see if I can. If not, I can look it up. So you know how sometimes when people ask you right then and there, you can't find it. But it's something I didn't commit to memory. And that's the thing now with technology. We don't have to commit all of these things to our memory. We can say, oh yeah, I remember seeing that. We can, you know, usually go back in and Google it to see. But yeah, great question. Thanks for asking, Travis.
Lisa,
Yeah.
excuse me, I had to step away there for the last few minutes. And where can I access the